Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our final professional development series for the school year. My name is Holly Noel, and I'm the P2C Director of School Counseling, and I am joined today by my lovely colleagues. We have, of course, Maggie and Bailey here, and maybe Alicia will pop in a little bit some too. And also, of course, I can't forget Ben from over at PED, who's here as well. But thank you all for joining us today as we dive into this final piece of that's part of the P2C curriculum and helping you all to understand how to utilize these amazing tools to help best support your students. So we will talk about an exciting piece today that Maggie will introduce and show us and walk us through. So again, you can have another tool to use when you're working with students. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Maggie.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Make sure.
Let's see which one. Oh, sorry, that's not professional. Show you my calendar. Okay. I'm in our system. So, Holly, your counselors have access to our system, correct? So when you do log in, let me move some things around here. You will come to our landing page. So if I hit the home button, you'll see that this is our landing page. This is as if I'm a teacher. So these are my fictitious classes. I'll go there in a moment. And you'll have the career pages there, the Career Explorer, career data, the ROI Analyzer, the Lifestyle Calculator, which New Mexico has. But we're going to focus today on what we call our career stories. So before I show you what a career story is, I'll just explain that we have over 300 career stories in our system on our platform, with more coming. So way more than 300 in the future. And a career story is basically a person's experience and how they got into that career. And they tell their story. So let me just show you what one looks like. So I'm on the platform right now. I can see respiratory therapist. Now there is a way to go. Let's just say in a math lesson, a teacher has taught about occupational therapist, and the students got very interested in that. You can actually search by occupation, but for the sake of time, and I can show you that as well, but I'll show you right away where to find these career stories. So in the career spotlight or through a search, and I'll show you that, if I click on learn more, it takes you to our career library. And this is where all of our career, all about our careers and all of our careers are located in the career library. So on this page, you will see all about this occupation, which is occupation respiratory therapist. There is a short video that's not our career story, but down here you'll see a little button, watch a career story. And also you can just keep scrolling and you'll find that video as well. And there she is. So this is the story of a respiratory therapist. And when I click on that, she'll tell her story. I wanted to go to one in particular. And this way I'll show you how to search by career. So that's what they look like. They've got the little play button, and it's going to be in two locations on this page, underneath these tabs or this orange button. I'm going to go back to the home page. And what I'm going to do is go to career tools. So I'm going to demonstrate one of our career tools, and that's our career library that I just spoke about. So I'll click there. And let's just say that your students, again, they were interested, maybe in one of the math lessons, they highlighted a nurse practitioner. What's that? I know what a nurse is. So what you can do is go here to the search tool. So you can find it again from the front page, from that landing page, on any career that shows up there. Or what you can do here is search by occupation. So I'm going to click on nurse practitioner. And I chose this one for a specific reason. I'll get into that in a moment. Before we talk about this, you're going to hear the term job zone. So this is a job zone, an occupation in job zone 5. And that tells me right away, job zone 5 requires a master's degree. So up front, students are learning about the world of work and occupations, and then what levels of education might be required. So yes, I have a couple of students that are interested in this. I want to share the career story. What I'm going to do is play a little bit of it, not the whole thing, because this is one of our not longer ones. They typically run, I've seen them as low as 4 minutes to 12 minutes. This one is in the 7-minute range, but I won't play the whole thing just so you can get the idea. So again, it's located here on this button, or I keep going. Now, some have 2. I think I've seen one occupation that had 3 videos, typically 1. I'm going to share this nurse practitioner here. Her name is Shauna. Thumbs up, Holly, if you can hear it. I just want to make sure.
My name is Shauna Reed Richards, and I have grown up my whole life as a native New Mexican in Lovington, New Mexico, a town of about 10,000 people, very small town community, rural New Mexico. And I am a nurse practitioner. I work for several nephrologists and cover their rural in-center hemodialysis patients. Patients that have kidney disease, end-stage kidney disease, in order for them to maintain life, they must have dialysis. And that entails 3 times a week, going typically to a center, and where they get a needle in their arm and the machine cleans their blood. And
so what she does, she talks for the next few minutes about the details of that occupation and what it entails. The 3 questions that are asked, she's asked, what is your job like? You just saw that, and she does go into great detail. And then she's asked, is there anything else? So at the end, there's always this nugget of information or advice for students. I'm just going to pop through so you can get the idea of other things that she talks about before we move on.
On the bus, all the kids that were going to the college to do a dual credit course. And my whole junior year, I did the certified nurse aide course. And
so she talks about her pathway to get there. And at the end, she does end with getting her master's in nurse as a nurse practitioner. So this advice for students and what they should expect for this occupation and her pathway to get there, she shares that.
Passed. And so I started working as a nurse aide at the same nursing home I had done clinicals. And I still remember the director of the junior college nursing program getting my application, looking through all of my courses. I had great grades. And she just said, I cannot believe that you have everything done, everything's in order, and you want to come into nursing school and you're 18 years old. I moved out.
So she's also referring to the mentors along the way, which I think is so powerful for our students. We'd like to refer to these career stories as virtual mentors for your students. I mean, they can, and especially in New Mexico, many of our career stories are from New Mexico. Just going to pop down so you can see kind of how it evolves.
Well, that's not what I want to be when I grow up. So I looked at 2 trajectories, and one was a nurse anesthetist and the other was a nurse practitioner. I applied to the family nurse practitioner program at Texas Tech in Lubbock and started getting through that. It took me about 2.5 years to get through that. So I graduated as a nurse practitioner. At that time, I was working in the emergency room here in Hobbs.
So she paints the picture that this is not an overnight occupation, and she does that very well in this video. I'm just going to hop to the end where she kind of gives her advice.
In a lease agreement, there's no turning back. Once you get a real job and your parents kick you off the insurance, there's no turning back. They get comfortable with that. They don't want you on their pocketbook anymore. And so to me, I would have said, slow down, pump the brakes. Would I have moved out and lived on my own? Probably, yeah, probably. But I would say take it all in. I think a lot of people want to grow up way too fast, and this world can be a mean, rude, crude place. And there are certain life events that you need to relish.
So that's really the end of it. So she really takes you through her journey and gives some advice really based on her experiences. So they're real people, and I think our students really do relate to them. So what I'm going to do is just remind you where they're located. I search for nurse practitioner, but again, if students hit the home button, they're bebopping around, they see a lifeguard. I'm not sure if we have a career story on this one. And this is what it looks like if we don't. I didn't think that we did. So there's not the orange button there. So they're not in every occupation, but again, we've got over 300 and more coming. So that's super exciting. If students like what they're learning about, make sure when they're in the system that they are bookmarking that career. That will save on their career page. It will save those occupations for them to come back to. Now, let me show you some curriculum that we have. And this is kind of exciting and kind of personal as well. I'll explain that in a moment. But if you go to, if you set up a class, and I'm going to take you through a class actually, and show you how to find this. Once classes are set up, I'll just go in through this one here. And you're searching in our curriculum. The way that you assign is you go to this plus button. It's an orange button. And this is how I'll show you. And then you've got filter by curriculum. So I click here on curriculum. You can see all of our math is here, career exploration curriculum, which we've talked about in previous sessions. Now we've got the career story playlist. So let me show you where this is. I click here. And what this is, and you can see, these are the 16 national career clusters. All 16. And before I show you the lesson, I'd like to show you the teacher materials. And we have a handbook. This is very handy. How might you use these lessons with students? So here's a handbook. Be sure to check that out. Tells you what it is, and I'll get into some detail about that. Each of the career clusters. It breaks down the education zones that I just mentioned, and that's very important to the playlist. And then the breakdown or the anatomy of each lesson. And tips for implementation. That's always important to know. How might you use, especially in your role as counselors, a teacher may use these in different ways. And then any of the frequently used resources, you've got access here to those PDFs. Okay. Let me go back. And then you've also got some information here about employability skills. But what I want to show you is a lesson and then break down how they are created. So for every career cluster, you have 2 lessons. One in the lower zones, either zone 2 or 3, requiring less education. So this one here would be requiring an associate's degree or a certificate. And then a zoologist would require a master's or higher. And then you can assign this to students from here. You can see the teacher view and the student view. What I'd like to do is be consistent. So I'll go to health sciences. And then I did create, I just slipped. I was the author of these lessons. So it was a nice portion of my year last year, but we're all very proud of these. So the nurse practitioner's story, of course, she requires a master's or doctorate degree. I can assign from here. It's in the pathway of therapeutic services. I'm not going to show you the student view because it just has less on it, but everything else, the student view information is also included in the teacher view. So for the teacher view, we've got the lesson. Again, you can see the cluster, the pathway, the zone, the appropriate grade levels. And this is approximately an hour and 15 minutes. So immediately I would know I'd need to break this up probably into 2 sessions, 2 class sessions. So there's the video with Shauna. We've got our essential questions. We use backward design to design these. So we know right up front, what are students going to have to know? What are the learning objectives? We've identified Webb's depth of knowledge and Bloom's levels. Anything in these lessons that you might need to use or access, you have that at your fingertips through anything. These are all, as you can see, linked. So the job zones chart, you can post this in your classroom to share with students. I knew that would happen. And I'm having trouble because things are hidden. Okay, there we go. This happened to me last time. Please pause and excuse me. It's going to kick me out. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's the chart. This included an I think, I wonder. Again, we've created that for you. We've created a note taker. And just so you know, we're in the process of rebranding from NS4Ed. So these may look differently, but the content will all be there. So that is the note taker. And then in this occupation, they're comparing a nursing assistant. This is what the students will be doing. And a licensed practical nurse, registered nurse, and nurse practitioner. And they're going to be comparing how those salaries change over adding levels of education. So that is part of that lesson. And anytime you see a deeper dive, this is the student edition, and I'll show you that in a moment. And then this is a 3-2-1 exit ticket created for you. It's all fillable as well. So you can assign this digitally, or they can actually write into it. So this is for the teacher, of course, but taking a peek at the student activity, again, this is all fillable. They're going to be doing some research about that occupation. They're going to be doing it with a partner and then eventually release themselves to do some research on their own. And they'll be, again, this is where they're going to be comparing those 4 levels of education, the educational zone, required education, and median wage. And usually, you know, those students really want to know what they're going to make. It's that median wage in an activity like this that their eyes really light up. And maybe, and you didn't hear Shauna talk about setting her goals and meeting her goals when she learned about becoming a registered nurse and then later on nurse practitioner. So it's that median wage that can really spark some interest here. And then all of our lessons include some sort of reflection and having the students reflect on what they've learned and how that relates to them. So again, this is the student piece. And then I'll break down this lesson for you. I'm not going to do the whole thing with you, but I'd like for you to see. All of the lessons include additional resources. So this is a video, not a video, information on how to volunteer in a hospital, a clip about a day in the life of a nurse, and then skills registered nurses need to acquire. So that just can take them to the next level if students are interested. And then we've got what does the teacher need to do prior to the lesson? Lesson vocabulary. This is one of our lessons that have more vocabulary than most because it is technical, and any vocabulary related to the actual lesson, not just nurse practitioner, that was included. So Shauna talks about kidney dialysis, nephrologist, dual credit was mentioned. And so I wanted to make sure that was part of the vocabulary. The launch of the lesson, that's the I think, I wonder. I'm very sequential, and the lessons that I created here are very step by step. I would want for, let's say, a substitute to be able to walk in and execute this lesson. So you'll see it's very step by step. The explore is the meat of the lesson, relating, as you can see, the question relating straight back to that video and getting students to start talking about it in the activity, the 3-2-1 exit. And then one of my personal favorite parts of each of these lessons is What if you have 3 or 4 students that are really showing, excuse me, excitement about this occupation? There's a section at the end of the lessons, how to extend curiosity for the students. So we talk about encouraging them to see you, the school counselor, to develop that plan, or look for those programs or career academies that have those health sciences programs. Take students on a field trip to a local hospital. Ask a local nurse practitioner to become a guest speaker. Let them talk to those students, and let the students ask those questions. Encourage students to volunteer in a hospital. That's a link because it's going to send them to learn more. Organize an interview with a student and a nurse practitioner. Schedule a campus tour for those students in getting ready for post-secondary. What are those programs out there that might interest them? Encourage them, of course, to be in our career library. Locate related careers. That's a huge, you guys as counselors know that students may be interested in a career, especially think about nursing. There are so many types of nurses in different types of settings that students can learn about. And then, of course, share for you all, the counselor, to share these additional resources right up here. So that is a typical career story lesson in our playlist. I do want to reiterate something though. There are 32 of these lessons. Again, there are over 300 career stories, but there are only 32 right now career story lessons, 2 in each of the 16 career clusters, and in each of those lower zone lesson and a higher zone lesson. So here's hospitality and tourism. So concierge and lodging manager, and I'll just pop through a few of these. And the lower zone is, of course, always first, and that's second. Information technology. So really, if you're working, especially teaching students about career clusters, it really would give them a hands-on approach to learning about these careers within career clusters. And Holly, I knew that this would be a shorter session because it was so pinpointing this one area of our platform. Do any of you have any questions?
Thank you, Maggie. That was awesome. Could you drop the link in the chat where I could find this? I just want to bookmark it, and I was kind of transitioning from another meeting to back to my office, so I missed it if that shared.
Well, and I don't see your name. Who am I talking to?
Oh, this is Lorraine Chavez. Yes.
Lorraine, I see it now. Lorraine, I'm in the platform,
Okay.
and that's how you would access it. And I'll review how to find it in the platform.
Okay.
But you would have to be, do you have access to P2C?
I know I have login information, but buried somewhere, and maybe that's why I can't just find it online.
And
So-
Holly, what were you saying?
I was pulling up the link,
Okay.
like the getting started one, and also I think where you can find all of this. So I'll drop that in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm a reviewer, that's the teacher in me. So I'm gonna just show you again. You can't get lost, but you would, if you want to see that once you create a class, let me back up. I don't want to confuse you. I'm gonna hit the home button. And again, once you create a class to access that, the curriculum, and we have covered that in previous sessions. I know we've got that recorded as well. Once you create that class, you will see this plus button, this plus sign, the orange plus sign. You click on that, and then you'll look for the curriculum right here. Click on the curriculum, and then the career story playlist will be right here. Now, to access just the career stories, you would be into the career library, or let's just see if I can find one. I'm sure we have a career story on. I'm not sure if we have a machine feeder career story. Let's see. I happen to know. We may have one here. Let's see. again, if you don't, there we go. So you're looking within the career details, you're looking for the career story. Again, orange button. If you scroll on down, you'll find that career story as well. And especially since you're in New Mexico, we've got a few outliers. Most of our videos are from people who may live in the same city of your own students, which is very powerful. That's why we like to call them virtual mentors, career mentors. Great questions. Anyone else?
Maggie, I will just say that the timing could not be better, especially for the career story playlist, because currently our CTE Perkins and Next Gen grant is actually open. So our schools are actively choosing their programs of study that they will fund with the 2 grants next year. So I think this is just perfect timing to kind of show how they can find the 2 different lessons within each program of study, no matter what. Of course, we want to focus on the programs we're actually funding, but I mean, to
Right.
extend it to every student in any pathway that they're interested, I think this was really spot on timing. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Share the video out, share the recording out to everyone you know. I agree with you, Ben. Brenda, do you have a question? No? But they're here for you, built in. So make sure you're sharing that information. And again, this recording would be very helpful for anyone interested. And Holly, do you have anything else?
No, sorry, I was trying to make sure. Is that the right one? Is that one helpful? Because so what happens, okay, first you have to request like access. It may take a day, but it's usually a quick turnaround. And then you'll receive an email with your information in it so that you can access the site. Again, because you are a counselor in New Mexico, you all have free access to a lot of different tools that we offer on the site. So start there and then you'll get an email and then you can dive straight into everything that you've seen today.
Perfect. Thank you.
More
And
than
how-
welcome.
They
Yes.
can always contact me if they want more on this. Specifically, if I have 20 minutes in my day, I'll sit down and meet with you and walk you through it again, I promise.
Maggie, could you please put your email in the chat just so I can save it in case I do have questions?
And I just jumped right in and didn't even introduce myself. So Bailey is on here as well. Bailey and I are both on the professional development team. And so we've got math experts on our team, Kiana. My focus is career exploration. So again, if you want more of this, hit me up with an email. We can meet virtually and I can help you.
Will you guys be here end of June for the
Yep.
conference?
I was just getting ready to announce that we will definitely be there. And I believe on the 27th is our day to present this. So it's actually me and my colleague Sanal who will be presenting on this tool and talking about all of these great things again. So we'll have a whole session on it. So if you're there, please attend. If you have more questions, we can support you more there. But again, even before then, if you need something, you can always reach out. But yes, we will have a whole session dedicated to this.
I think I'm running 4 sessions, so I'm excited.
We're all going to be bouncing all around, but
All
this is
hands on deck.
definitely right. This is definitely something we want to highlight. I think I say this in every meeting. This is something that I really want to focus on moving forward and making sure counselors and everyone who's working with students in this capacity has at least a general understanding of it, you know, how to access it, locate it, and getting all students into this system because it's just such a great tool and there's so many different ways that it can support students. And I think it breaks it down to their level of understanding and they get to in the visuals and the videos. So again, it's just a really great tool. So moving forward, we are going to continue to dig into this and hopefully, you know, all of the counselors and teachers in New Mexico, this will be second nature. This will be something that you all have pinned to your, to your desktops, and it's just something that you access to support students on a regular basis.
Yeah, and these career stories, it could be something as simple as you're rolling into whatever classroom you might roll into, share just one of those videos and then have a class discussion. It could be used as simple as that, but getting students to see real people in the world of work around them, I think is super powerful.
Absolutely. And I love all of the built-in, like the worksheets, the flyers, the guides, like it's really a one-stop shop for you to present the lesson. Like if you need that exit ticket, if you need that compare and contrast page, everything is already created and it's fillable. So it's extremely user-friendly. Again, I think it's more so about just getting this out there and letting everyone know that it exists and how easy it is to use it, and and just to start incorporating it into their curriculum. So I'm excited about it for sure.
Me too.
Well, all right. I think we are good to go. Were there any more questions about anything before we wrap up? All right. Well, as always, Maggie, thank you so much. Bailey, thank you for being here. Ben and all the counselors, I appreciate you all. Thank you for showing up for us this year. We'll see you all next year. But in the meantime, if you need us, we're here. We're
Yeah.
still here. But thank you so much.
See you in June, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Have a great rest of your day and week. Bye-bye.